Last summer, I stood in front of the mirror at 120 pounds, the smallest I had been in years, yet my legs were still covered in cellulite. I have two choices. I could cut harder and get smaller and hope that this cellulite finally disappears, even though it hadn't already, or I could do the one thing that would have every other woman in midlife thinking I'm crazy: gain weight on purpose. Today, I'm gonna walk you through exactly why last summer I chose to gain 10 pounds on purpose before I lost a single pound of body fat, and why cellulite at 50 is almost never just a body fat problem. It's a muscle problem, and why no amount of cutting is gonna fix that. Quick context before I get into my story. My name is Janine. I'm a coach for women in midlife. I'm 50 years old, in menopause myself, and I help women look and feel their best at this stage of life. I have been in the fitness world for over 15 years, competed in fitness competitions, and I know what my body is supposed to look like when it's working. But 4 years ago, at 46 years old, I found myself in menopause, and that's when the cellulite arrived. I literally feel like it came overnight. One day I looked in the mirror without pants on and I was like, oh my gosh, where did that come from? I never had a bad issue with cellulite on the front of my legs. Always had some on the back of my legs, just under my butt. But this time it was on the front of my legs and it was all the way down to my knees. I mean, it came with menopause. I had put on 15 to 20 pounds of menopause weight gain. But here's the kicker. I lost that 15 to 20 pounds of menopause weight, but the cellulite didn't go anywhere. In fact, there I was last summer at 50 years old, and there it was, clear as day, still down to my knees, even though I had lost all of that menopause weight. I mean, I did what most women do to lose weight, right? I cut my calories. I did tons of exercise. I ended up doing 5 Orange Theory classes a week. Sometimes I even went up to 7 classes a week. And sure, I was able to get the weight off, but that didn't help me get the cellulite off. And here's what I finally understood last summer after years of fighting it. The cellulite was not a weight problem. I could be the perfect weight on the scale, but if I didn't solve the actual problem, the cellulite wasn't going anywhere. I mean, I would be lying to you if I said that last summer when I looked at my legs and I decided I wanted to do something about them, that my inclination wasn't, I should just go in a calorie deficit, try to lose more fat, see if I can minimize the appearance. It's exactly what I wanted to do initially. But the truth was, that was the same thing I had been doing for years. And every year that I tried to do that, sure, the number on the scale moved, but the cellulite wouldn't go anywhere. So why was I trying to do the same thing this time again and expecting a different result? That's when I stopped myself. So that's when I made the decision. And I have a coaching program called the Elite Phases System. I put myself into my own program and right into the build phase. So I want to make something clear that I never really understood until a few years ago. Cellulite is not a fat problem. Cellulite is what happens when soft tissue sits on top of muscle that is too weak or lacks structure. Think about it like a mattress. If you have a firm, well-built mattress and you put the fitted sheet over it, the sheet looks nice and smooth over the mattress. The mattress essentially holds the sheet up. Now, picture a mattress with no support underneath. Soft, lumpy. The sheet on top dimples and folds because there's nothing holding it up. No smooth appearance. Your legs are the same way. Strong, well-developed glutes, hamstrings, quads. Give the skin and the fat above them structure. They pull everything tight. When those muscles are underdeveloped or dormant, which is exactly what happens to women in their 40s and 50s who've been sedentary or only doing cardio, the tissue on top has nothing to hold it up. So it dimples. It ripples. It does the thing that we all call cellulite. Here's the math that broke my brain when I finally understood it. If you cut calories aggressively to try to get rid of the cellulite, you might lose a little bit of the fat that's on top, but you're also going to lose some of that supporting muscle. So now you have less fat, but you also have less muscle, that structure. Remember the firm mattress? So the cellulite actually gets worse. The appearance of it gets much worse. That's the trap. That's the trap I was in for 4 years since I started menopause, tried to get rid of the cellulite. And that's the trap that most midlife women are into. They're trying to cut and diet the cellulite away, and that's not going to happen. So I started my build in July of 2025. It's officially phase 2 of my Elite Phases system. I strategically added calories week over week while doing a progressive overload program. And remember, my goal specifically was to improve my legs. Well, it was one of my goals. And so I did what I needed to do in order to do that, which was add a second leg day. So I actually did 4 progressive overload strength training workouts per week, 2 of which were leg days. So you always double down on the body part that you want to improve the most. And for me, it was my legs. So I did that for 4 months, strategically adding calories. I got up to 2,600 calories. I kept my protein pretty much the same throughout, which was 120 to 130 grams of protein. And remember, I was on a progressive overload program. So every single week, my goal was to get stronger, lift heavier, more volume, more sets. I was dedicated. On those leg days specifically, I paid close attention to my fuel. I made sure I had enough carbs before my workout and after my workout to fuel the workout and the recovery. And over those 4 months, I went from 120 pounds to 130 pounds. 10 pounds gained on purpose. Can you believe that? I want you to sit with that for a minute. I gained 10 pounds on purpose at 49 years old, postmenopausal, while most women my age are trying to cut calories and cardio their fat off. Most women would have panicked at every single pound on that scale that was gained. But here's what was happening underneath. My legs were getting bigger. My glutes were waking up. The shape of my legs were changing in ways I hadn't seen since my fitness competition days when I was 35 years old. The cellulite did not disappear yet. It was still there at the end of my build, but the foundation was being built. I was not skinny fat anymore. I was carrying quite a bit more muscle, and I was preparing my body for the phase that would come next. And after 4 months of building and eating a lot of food, I was finally ready for the phase I had wanted to go in initially, the cut. This is the thing about phase 4 in my Elite Phases system. It's the cut. We never start with the cut, but that's where everybody wants to start. You have to earn the cut. You either earn the cut through stabilization, through a build, through a recomp, through something, but a cut is earned. And listen, by the time I got into this cut, my metabolism was firing. I had been eating a ton of calories and I had gained more muscle. I put my body in a place that would actually respond to the deficit instead of fighting it. I cut for 12 weeks. And I lost 16 pounds. And because I had built the muscle first, that 16 pounds came off in all the right places. My waist came down from a 28-inch waist to a 24-inch waist. And that fat layer that was sitting on top of my legs, gone. The cellulite, gone. The extra fat I had in my midsection and lower back, gone. All the areas that body fat was hiding the structure that I had built, gone. Here's the part nobody tells you about cutting after a real build. The reveal is unbelievable because when the fat comes off, the muscle underneath is finally visible. The shape that was always supposed to be there finally shows up. And that cellulite that used to sit on that soft, structureless frame now has something firm underneath it. This is exactly why the order matters. Build first, then cut. After the cut, I moved into maintenance and recomp, which is where I've been for the last 3 months. And my body is still changing. I'm holding my calories at maintenance, which is currently 2,000 calories. I'm still training 4 days a week. I'm still hitting 2 leg days, and I'm pushing PRs again. My legs are still a work in progress. They are not perfect. There are still days I look in the mirror and see things that I want to improve. I still have very specific goals. I want a visible quad sweep and no cellulite at all. But that's the cool part about being in recomp and maintenance. The work doesn't stop. It just shifted a little bit. But here's what I can tell you with absolute certainty. That cellulite that I had lived with for 4 years, completely gone. that dimpling that went all the way down to my knees, that no amount of cutting would change, completely gone. I can now press my finger into my leg and cellulite doesn't sprout up all around my finger. I used to hate doing that. Like I said, my legs are finally starting to take shape in ways that I have not seen since my fitness competition days. And that's the shape that comes from muscle, not getting smaller, not just always cutting, but by getting stronger. That is the shape that a diet alone will never give you. If you're watching this and if you have cellulite on your legs or cellulite that appeared after menopause, no amount of cutting or cardio has been able to fix it. I need you to hear this. You have been doing the wrong work for the right problem. Cutting will not fix this. Pilates will not fix this. Orange Theory will not fix this. Believe me, I tried that one. None of those things are going to build the muscle that's going to create the structure needed to smooth out that cellulite. You have to build first. And I know that's hard to hear because every instinct in you wants to get smaller, cut calories, diet, but it's not going to work. The way out of this is the opposite of what you've been doing. And that's hard to wrap your head around sometimes. And you don't have to go into a 4-month build. Maybe you have some muscle tone under there already. Maybe your journey is a little bit different. Maybe it's 1 to 2 months or 3 months. Maybe it's 6 months. But time is going to pass anyway. So before you ever think of cutting again, if cellulite is your problem, think about how a build might change everything for you. This is the Elite Phases system, and I built it for women just like you. This is the exact protocol that I run with my clients, and that's why they're having success that they haven't had in years, or ever for that matter. And remember, it worked for me at 50, postmenopausal, after 4 years of trying to cut off my cellulite. If this video made you rethink everything regarding that cellulite on your legs, I want you to do me a favor. Scan that QR code up on the screen, book into a consultation, and see how the Elite Phases system might work for you. I'll see you in the next video.